next one I'll share. I know we had a request, but I'm gonna flow with it, family. I think that, one of the beautiful parts I talked about this intergenerational narrative and the beauty of generations and other mothers. But when I was a kid, one of my favorite other mothers was my neighbor. Her name was Miss Tonya. She lived right next door, and she would tell the best stories, and we would gather and just sit on the step. And so I wrote a poem about her called Big Dipper, Little Dipper. When I was a young black girl playing on the block at night, my next door neighbor, Miss Tonya, would sit on the front steps and tell stories to the children. She was like a big sister on the block. She had thick, long black hair that she kept braided up in two plaits on each side. She walked with a little limp. Sometimes she sat in a wheelchair. She carried a fly swatter and she was smart. She drank homemade iced tea with lemon and gave us candy. All the little black girls would gather on her front steps and listen to her stories. It was a convening, and our front steps was the meeting place, a time to wish, wonder, and learn. Squeeze tight real close so we could hear every word. Sometimes she would tell us stories with books. My favorite were the ones she told with no books at all, the ones she read from her mind. She was black and had Indian in her family, Cherokee. She talked about stars and the planets, atoms and dinosaurs, herbivores and ocean life, how to play Uno, our way. She taught us etymology and how to choose our words wisely, molecules and gravity, Big Dipper, Little Dipper. She talked about pride and courage. She taught us to ask questions. She taught us to study hard so that we could gain knowledge. She taught us to be the smartest in the room, big sister, little sister. She looked after the girl children on the block. She kept a sharp eye out for the girl children, little sister, little sister. She always kept eyes sitting on that step. It didn't matter that she couldn't walk real good. She knew everything that happened on the block. She was an alchemist. At night, she became our master teacher, a keeper of stories, stimulating our prefrontal cortex, planting seeds of ideation, inquiry, rising. She was a healer, taught us how to solve problems with our thoughts, asked us to imagine what the sun looked like in the dark, taught us about elements and chemical reactions, told us to never let the boys and grown men touch on us. She told us that she would carry our secrets so they didn't weigh us down. So we told her everything so that we could walk easy. Little sister, little sister. She qualified our secrets, organizing data, making decisions about actions and inactions. Cause her mama, Miss May, told her to keep a watchful eye out for the girl children. Miss May told her daughter that she would carry her secrets so they didn't weigh her down. So Miss Tonya told her mama all her secrets and ours and everything she observed on the block, sitting on that step. And Miss May called Grandma Kathleen next door, and Grandma Kathleen called Miss Pauline from across the street, and Miss Pauline called Miss Johnny May from up the way, and Miss Johnny May called Miss Gladys across from us, and Miss Gladys called Miss Laws down the street, and Miss Laws called Miss Dolores on the corner. Bloodmothers, Othermothers. The women gathered in their meeting place in their kitchen tables on three-way, twirling phone cords in one hand, smoking a cigarette in the other, dinner on the stove, flame on low to keep it warm, taking names and collecting glances from the curtains, exchanging information and strategizing corrections, while the girl children were on the front steps learning about Big Dipper, Little Dipper. This network of black women were operators of our home place. Miss Tonya kept a watchful eye. She helped us access our superpowers through storytelling. She taught us fables and folk tales, fairy tales and not quite fairy tales about seeing spirits in the stairwell of her house, hovering over burgundy carpet, smelling the sweet scent of cigars and whiskey suddenly, and the lights flickering. These were the ancestors, she'd say, just an uncle passing by, nothing to be afraid of. We believed her, so we were unafraid. She continued with her stories about the stars, a constellation connoisseur, an astrologist. One night, as the black girls gathered at the meeting place, she told us that Little Dipper is where we could find Polaris, a very shiny, special star. The girls grew giddy. Ooh, who is Polaris? Who is Polaris? We squealed, anxious to learn more about this new character. Polaris is the North Star, and she sits at the handle of the Little Dipper. We gasped. Our jaws hit the floor. Big, wondrous eyes, wide-eyed with excitement. What? Because every black child growing up in the 90s knew of the North Star. We knew to search for the North Star to find our way home. Textbook math. The North Star was our global positioning symbol. In the summertime, while driving back to Philly from down south on 95, I searched for the North Star often from my back window in the back seat, slipping and sliding on a stack of yellow pages. I always knew my way home. I couldn't believe it. Polaris was the North Star, the same star that Harriet Tubman, the same star that led Harriet Tubman to freedom. Every black child knew that Harriet led our ancestors to freedom, so Polaris is the star who shined a bright light for 13 trips and 70 lives. I couldn't believe that this North Star was also my North Star. Even better, now she had a name. Miss Tonya talked about stars like they were something that we could just reach up and pull right out the sky. She told us that we could, and we believed her. So we did. We grabbed the star, we cupped the stars in our palms, feeling their warmth, twirling them around. They never felt as heavy as I imagined. She taught us to see the stars the way we wanted to see them. I thought a lot about Polaris. Eyes closed, I imagined her as a black woman. Because what other kind of star could shine a light so distinctly bright for 13 trips and 70 lives? What other kind of star could match her frequency? What other kind of star could command such reverence, ethereal and wise? What other kind of star could carry Little Dipper to guide Harriet to freedom, 13 trips and 70 lives? Connecting constellations to black liberation, Little Dipper, Little Dipper. What other kind of star could have assumed a most righteous position, channeling coded maps to the planet? North Star, favorite star, keeper of secrets, watchers of the children. Black women were the operators of our home place, and Polaris was a black woman who shapeshifted into a star. Little Dipper, she's so brave. And there I was, facing Polaris. I said, so you're the mighty North Star. How mighty you had to have been to carry that light for our ancestors all alone. How mighty you are, celestial and brave. Polaris looked at me and smiled, leaning slightly to the left, glancing over her right shoulder so that I could see the truth. Big Dipper was right there behind her, a cluster of sis stars. Polaris said, I was never alone because my mama is always here. You must find Big Dipper to find me. Big Dipper, Little Dipper. Big Dipper was a cluster of black women, Polaris' Bloodmother and Othermothers, keeping a watchful eye over their star child. Sis stars to other constellations, exchanging information on three-way, creating coded maps in the sky using zodiacs, telling Polaris that they'll carry all of her secrets so they didn't weigh her down. So Polaris told Big Dipper everything, so that she could shine her bright light without strain for 13 trips and 70 lives. I opened my eyes, sitting next to Miss Tonya, sharing my daydream about Polaris, staring up at that black night sky, wishing, hoping, longing to one day have what Polaris had. Big Dipper, Little Dipper.
Excellent.
All right, y'all good? Y'all with me?